I'll be back. So, Terminator Dark Fate. This is a rather interesting one for me because I I haven't really had any dips into the Terminator franchise. And Terminator the franchise isn't entirely beyond my time. The only two movies that aren't are rather a little beyond my time, given they happened before I was born, were The Terminator, which of course was 1984, and Judgment Day, which was 1991. But the others have all happened within my lifetime, and surprisingly, I never saw any of them. I mean, there was Rise of the Machines in 2003, Salvation in 2009, and Genesis in 2015. And weirdly, I never dipped my toe into any of them. There was even the Sarah Connor Chronicles in 2008 to 2009, which, I don't know, I might check out at some point, but my point is that with the Terminator franchise, with the latest film, Dark Fate, which I saw yesterday, I was coming into this very much blind. I know of the Terminator franchise. It's almost impossible not to know the Terminator franchise in some form, but I am not a person who has experienced it, which is odd because now my family did have two of the previous Terminator movies on DVD. Those being the DVDs of Judgment Day and of Salvation. I did try one time to sit down to watch Salvation, but I got distracted and I ultimately never ended up watching it. And I remember when Genesis was coming out, when the trailers of Genesis were coming out, and I honestly thought it looked pretty interesting. I thought to myself, okay, I've not seen the Terminator movies, but I think I could get into this. Also, with the trailers coming out around 2014, this would have been shortly after Matt Smith left Doctor Who, and it was kind of strong. It was strongly kind of revealed that he would play a major part in Terminator Genesis, which, okay, his part. I don't know if his part's longer than 10 minutes, but yeah, I could see in the marketing material they were building him up in there. And as I said, I did think about seeing Genesis, but I thought I'd also wait and see what the reviews said, and when the reviews were rather unkind, I kind of lost interest. But that's my point, in that when I came into Dark Fate, I was going in very much blind. I'm a person who has yet to experience the Terminator franchise, and I'm just coming in to see it as a movie, not as part of a franchise. And as a movie, I'd say Terminator Dark Fate is actually pretty good. Yeah, as a movie, it works. I can see it does have some things that'll get Terminator fans kind of truly kind of happy and jumping up and down the air, but for the rest of us, yeah. Terminator Dark Fate, I feel, is a pretty good setup. What's the basic plot of it? Okay, you've got a young woman from Mexico named Dani Ramos, played by Natalia Reyes, and she is one day visited by an augmented human from the future named Grace, played by Mackenzie Davis. And she is ultimately trying to protect Danny from a another type of Terminator from the future, a Rev 9, played by Gabriel Luna. Only this time it's not Skynet that's the problem. Skynet has been defeated. This time it's an artificial intelligence known as Legion. And they're helped along the way by Sarah Connor, played once again by Linda Hamilton, and also later on by the T-800, a Arnold Schwarzenegger, now going by the name of Carl. And the rest of the movie is practically what you expect, trying to get away from the Rev 9 and ultimately discovering more about each other along the way. Big explosions, car chases, travelling across the ground trying to get away from this thing, and honestly, for a person who's never experienced the Terminator franchise before, I think it's a pretty good film. I mean, you do care about each of these characters. I mean, it's great seeing Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger back in their roles. I mean, okay, while I mentioned that I personally have yet to fully dip into the Terminator franchise, even I can appreciate how groundbreaking they were. In that, I know Arnold Schwarzenegger has had other movies besides its franchise, such as Last Action Hero and Kindergarten Cop and Junior and all the rest of it. But I think I think if you ask about 80% of the population what the definitive Arnold Schwarzenegger film would be, they'd probably say one of the Terminator movies. I mean, this is the former governor of California, and this is his franchise. There's no denying that. But then again, as I said, it's a good film. I sat down through and I appreciate the nod back to some of the classic films, but also appreciate this for what it was. And you know what? I'd say it's pretty good. I mean, I feel the best way to kind of describe my feelings on the matter is similar to Star Trek Into Darkness. Now, hear me out on this. I like the Terminator franchise. I knew of Star Trek. It's almost impossible not to know Star Trek. Even if you aren't a fan of it, you know of Star Trek. But I personally I've never seen any of the original Star Trek movies. I mean, I've not seen the ones that people consider great, like The Wrath of Khan or The Voyage Home. The first Star Trek movie I saw was Into Darkness, which I think was around kind of 2013, there or thereabouts. And I know some people these days think Star Trek Into Darkness isn't the best Star Trek film out there, and you know what, I can appreciate that. But as a person who had never experienced Star Trek before, Star Trek Into Darkness I felt was a pretty solid film. And I feel the same way about Dark Fate. I mean, I'm sure there are going to be some purists out there who say, oh, the only good Terminator movies are The Terminator or Judgment Day or whatever the rest of it. And they're going to say that most of the other Terminator films are not that great. But as someone who had no previous experience of the Terminator franchise, Terminator Dark Fate I found enjoyable. I mean, it built upon the lore that comes with the Terminator franchise, and it did well. I mean, I think the strength that this film had was that it didn't try to do what I think they'd tried to do with Genesis, which was try to kind of retell the kind of events in different ways. No, this Dark Fate is more a direct sequel to Judgment Day, and you know what? I think it worked. I think that works in its favour. So I've said over and over again, what do I think of Terminator Dark Fate? Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I'm a person who's not immediately engrossed in the Terminator franchise, but after seeing this, I think I might check it out. So there you go, there's my quick little review of Terminator Dark Fate. I'd say go and check it out if you haven't already. It's a pretty good film. Anyway, until next time, I'll be back.